Hello, and welcome to Failing Up, a limited series from the shallow end about our collecting failures, how they haunt us, and ultimately make us better collectors. It's about the moments we need, even if we don't necessarily want them. I'm Dave Schwartz, and I wanted to do this series to help us all feel a little less alone in this hobby. We've all made mistakes. No one is perfect, and maybe, just maybe, we can learn from each other. Today's guest is Dave Spinrad, at Rated Rabbi on Instagram, and as you'll hear at the top of this episode, he's worn lots of different hats in his life. The one constant, he says, has been failure, but he wouldn't have it any other way. In this hobby, sometimes you have to figure out what you don't like before you figure out what you do. In today's episode, we welcome in the Rated Rabbi, Dave Spinrad. Welcome to the episode, Dave. Thanks for being here. And please tell us something about failure that is on your mind.
Hey, Dave. It's great to be here. It's really an honor to be on the show, and I have a lot of appreciation for your presence in the hobby, and I'm excited to have this conversation. I think I'd say right off the top that I've failed so many times that I have a different relationship to failure than I think most people do, right? A typical connotation of failure really doesn't have a meaning to me. My understanding of failure is it's a necessary part of success, that actually we fail many, 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 many times on the way to success. Before I was a rabbi for almost 12 years in San Francisco, I was a personal trainer. So I was in these real personal relationships with people who were in relationship with themselves, trying to lovingly coax them towards failure and understanding that it was necessary to fail to get where they want to be. So the fear of failure is not something that, well, thank goodness, it's not something that I really struggle with because I have failed so many times. I think something else you and I have talked about in the past is that my collecting is really undergirded by a belief that in the end, what we collect is ourselves. So my collection ultimately is a relationship with myself. It's a reflection of my identity. When I'm at my best in this way, it's about how I want to see myself and not about how I want you to see me. Right? In fact, lots of mistakes along the way when I'm like, I want to be known as this guy. I want to have this. When I'm at my best as a collector, I'm collecting myself. And along the way, I've also recognized I don't want a big collection. So I'm succeeding, I'm failing, a lot of times based on volume. It's almost like an accordion. There's music in both ways. And my collection is expanding. It's actually, I'm failing along the way. And it's when the accordion is being squeezed, I'm moving closer to success. So it's expand, contract, fail, succeed, fail, succeed. So I have a few I'd love to show you, some of these examples of failing along the way and ultimately learning to succeed in ways as well. Always by doing. The first one, a couple I don't have to show you. A lot of my failures were from inexperience. So I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell your audience. In April of 2021, I purchased Top Shot. Not once, but twice. Learn by doing. Oh, it's just exciting and new. Everybody's doing it. I was so green. Learn by doing. Am I a set collector? I had sets when I was a kid. I really discovered early on I abhor volume. I am not a sex collector, but I love cards. I love mail days. So even though I don't collect sets, I do have a binder of what I call uncommons, so I can have a mail day. This is 1969, Ted Williams and Mike Epstein. Ted shows how $3.50. Not a set collector, but I love cards. So this is an example of, I started trying to build a 1985 Topps football set in a PSA 8 or higher. It was terrible. It's the last thing I wanted. It's like, all these too much. Something small. This is more my speed. So I'm not a set collector. How about ultra modern? No, it's not me. It gets so much attention. It just gets the juices flowing, the froth. There's so much noise about it, but I'm not an ultra modern collector. And I'm not a set collector per se, but they're so attractive. And because I realize I'm not a big set collector, and because I'm not a big ultra modern collector, but I do have elements I like of both, I discovered these. What I'm showing here is the 2020 Obsidian Supernova. It's a 20 card insert set. I picked up my 11th yesterday. I'm showing you the 1 of 1 of Patrick Mahomes. I picked up my 11th out of 20 1 of 1s, which is like, I'm over the hump now. So I've got that. It's unbelievable. So, fail. Something I like about this, I can succeed this way. Take something forward as a collector. Am I a team collector? I'm a ride or die San Francisco Giants fan. So I started collecting Giants fans. Now I'm holding up a 2024 Topps Chrome Gold Refractor of Uber Prospect, almost certainly a bust by now, Marco Luciano rookie card. Learn by doing. This is not my thing. I'm not a prospector, but I love the Giants. In particular, I discovered through failing that what I really motivated and want to really galvanize in my hobby experience are those 3 World Series winners, 2010, 12, and 14. So now I'm holding up a 2013 Buster Posey Topps Chrome super short print. It's called Shaking Hands. It's him getting his World Series ring opening day 2013. Another thing I love Heritage Gold Refractors. This is a 2014 Buster Posey Heritage Refractor. I love that black numbered out of 65 with the 65 design. So again, fail, but learn and move towards success. I'm not a vintage guy. I'm not a modern guy, but I am a vintage guy. I discovered, man, that's art. That's Americana to me. So yes to vintage. Early on, I remember my all-time favorite Roberto Clemente card is the 71. Just he's Roberto. None of the Bob. He wins a World Series MVP that year, and if you know the card, it's black border, of course, and he's looking down at the bat. It's a magnificent composition. I remember my first year back in the hobby, I bought a PSA 8. And Dave, if there's an ugliest PSA 8, I bought it. Right. And so then after the 8, I'm like, okay, this is the best grade I can get. I spent way more than I needed to. And I learned a little bit. I went down to a PSA 7, better looking card, right? Sold the 8, went to a 7. And then maybe a year or two ago, I picked up a PSA 6 that is just stunning. So I am a vintage guy, but I want eye appeal over grades, which is pretty obvious to all of us now. But as a beginner, I had to fail and fail and fail.
You've got to think that somewhere out there is a PSA 5 with your name on it.
Oh, your lips to God's ears, buddy. Don't think I don't look sometimes. If it was a pinhole, a 1, I might get that. Get it before Mookie gets it.
Yeah. Good luck.
Right. Am I a player collector? Let me try player collecting. I'm going to merge my favorite football team, my favorite football position, defensive end, defensive line, the 49ers, ultra modern. I started collecting Nick Bosa's, right? Defensive players, not that expensive. I started getting all the Prism golds out of 10s and other golds and all of it. I got rid of a lot of them. I still have this one. This is the 2022 gold out of 10. I'm going to move it. I just haven't sold it yet. I will tell you though, going back to my love of vintage and deciding not to continue to collect Nick Bosa, I bought raw his rookie Kaboom sub that came back at PSA 10. But I was trying, and I was like, I don't like this. I sold it. And with the money I got for selling the Bosa Kaboom rookie, I bought this 1911 T205 Christy Mathewson with razor sharp registration, like Matt 1956 Tops guy approved. Like this is so crystal clear. I
That's
love
the one
this
where you
card.
on your Instagram post where you focused in on his eyes, if I remember.
Yes, yes. Yeah. I had the magnifying glass on my big monitor. It had to be perfect, right? But again, fail and learn and succeed. Fail,
Let me
learn, succeed.
let
Yeah,
me ask about the milestones along the way to failing, and and the way that you're framing it. I'm taking it as failing isn't failing. Failing is success because it's taking you to a place where you want to be.
yeah,
So let's take, for example, was it 85 Tops football set?
yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah,
take 85 Tops football. When through that process of trying to get PSA 8s and higher, did it start to sink in that maybe this wasn't the right thing for you? Was it gradual? Was it just a moment of I am tired of this? What was it like when you realized, nope, not for me?
quite early, actually. The first graded card I ever bought was an 85 Tops Kellen Winslow and a PSA 8. I'm like right away. And I
Right
pushed
away.
it. I did real fast. I pushed it though. Then I got a Dwayne Board. I actually wore his same jersey number in high school, 76. That was a PSA 10. It was like all of $20. I'm like, and I wanted to like it far more than I did. Right? It didn't get me in terms of, there's the definition, hobby, something we do in our leisure time for pleasure. It felt like work.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So building on that work theme, I love vintage. Well, I thought, well, I'm going to do a Willie Mays vintage run. Started feeling like work, right? Sold those. I built it up. Like I'm going to do all the, it's like, I don't want all these. I don't like 66, 60s. Sold almost all of them off. I'm still learning these lessons, by the way. It's like I'm like got it all figured out. So now I'm holding up a 56 Tops, beautiful Willie Mays. I think it's a PSA 5.5, gorgeous example. I was doing that accordion thing. I was shrinking and I looked at these and I said, you know what? I have the Mays, the Aaron, the Jackie, and the Mantle. I had the big ones. I just really need Williams, Clemente, and Koufax, and the rest of the Hall of Famers, 33 non-manager, non-president, 33 56 Tops Hall of Famers. I'm going to go for this. And now I've got who do I have? Like Minnie Minoso, who's cool, but early win. So I'm still learning this lesson. I looked at, who else do I have? The Campy's cool. Anyway, now I'm going to sell these things off. I collected 6 more of them. So I'm still learning. I'm still learning, always learning. 2 more. Again, this learn, fail or make a mistake and learn from it, move towards success. 90s cards are amazing. They're incredible. They're gorgeous. And they have a certain cachet in the hobby. I don't know if it's like they're the cool kids who collect them, but you know what, Dave? It's not my nostalgia. I was bartending in New York in my 20s in the 90s, which was amazing. I wasn't collecting cards. So I wanted to try it. They said, there's a lot of sex appeal, right? I picked up a 97 PMG red William Floyd, a common but cool, a great niner. Picked up a 99 Garrison Hearst PMG. I tried, and sold them off. I kept one Garrison Hearst. Garrison Hearst, one of those guys, if you want to do 90s cards, they're cheaper, right? He's a kind of a semi-star. The only one I kept is I still have this Bowman's Best, like that nice cracked dice look out of 198 Bowman's Best. Still have this one, but again,
Atomic.
Yeah, Atomic. I mean, yeah. Atomic. It's a great looking card. But just try things, get in the ring. And then my last example of this pattern of behavior, when I got back into the hobby, I thought I was the only person in the world who had saved unopened packs. Turns out it's a whole niche in the hobby. It's a really cool niche in the hobby, but everyone got there first. And all the best stuff is so expensive and held by basically a group of guys. And I could never make it my primary aspect of my collection. And then I was dabbling. At one point, I remember I picked up a box of 98 Bowman Chrome, which is the one that has Peyton, it has Charles Woodson or Randy Moss. I'm not a 90s guy, like I said. I bought it because I thought it would be cool. I bought it because I thought it would appreciate, but I got no heart for it. So now I'm sitting a little bit underwater in that one, but whatever. I'll do something with it at some point. But this, now I'm sure I know you like this card, Dave. I'm holding up now a 78 Topps rack pack with Reggie Jackson top left cell. Like, this scratches my itch, right? So again, that same pattern of try things, make a mistake, fail, learn, succeed. And it's all asking the question, who am I? Who am I now? Who am I becoming? And it brings me back to that. I want something that's small and cohesive. I want a collection that tells a story about me and sports, more poetry than prose. But you gotta like stumble and fall along the way. Like, how many first drafts make it get published? You know? So that's my my take on failure and success.
So it sounds like the path and the different roles that you've had in your life, kid growing up and then college student and then personal trainer and then rabbi, you've had these chances to develop this perspective that failure is essential. Failure is necessary. Failure gets us. Failure has a utility. How maybe might you, I hate to use the word counsel, that's the only word coming to my head right now. If you were talking to someone in the hobby and they were just sort of dwelling on this mistake that they made, they sold something too early or they sold something too late. What kind of questions might you ask them, or what might you want to point out to them to help them start to see their mistake or their situation in a little bit of a different light?
Yeah. Oh, Dave, we're all so hard on ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves. In our quiet hours, in our private time, we are all so hard on ourselves as human beings. And those of us who are not are often, sociopathic. Right? It's like it's a self-regulation. So I would first say, we're human. Right? I personally don't believe, I'm not going to get all religious and theological. I don't believe in a theological line of reasoning that holds this eternal being as perfect. But when I do get into that mind frame, it's to understand it's like, and we're not, we're human. We stumble and fall. We make mistakes. If we've hurt others, we got to do all we can to make it right. When we've hurt ourselves, do all we can to be gentle and make ourselves right again. But it's a part of, we're human beings. We make mistakes. And then in more like, if you want to move into sort of practical terms, move slowly. There are one of ones that we like. I've missed on things because I've gone slowly, or I've been too indecisive. But for the most part, I remember first or second year back in the hobby, I had to have a Bird Magic rookie card. There's a gazillion Bird Magic rookie cards, but there I am, 10:38 at night. I probably wasn't even wearing my glasses. I'm standing in the kitchen by my phone, bidding on something that's going to be there again and again and again and again and again. There's a saying that one of my rabbis said. She said, if you have to force it, it doesn't work and you're going to break it. And that's a lot of wisdom to try to bring into building a good collection. If you have to force, you have to make a play, rise and grind, action. Like, I don't know, man. That's just not my thing. You have to, it's not supposed to feel that way to me. So those are a couple things that I would maybe offer. Maybe give them a hug too.
Everyone needs the hug sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to learn the lesson. Sometimes we have to fail twice to learn the first lesson, right? Like you were
Oh,
talking about the sets. The first set I really went on and built when I got back into the hobby is I built the entire 93 finest basketball refractor set.
yes.
It took a lot of put it,
Yes.
and I finally got together and I was going to grade them all and I had them and thought, oh, I don't want to spend on grading for this stuff. Right. And
Burden.
I thought that was it. And I thought that was going to be it. And I sold them off and moved them off and actually got most of what I put into it back, which was great because it happened to be at the time when things were peaking. And then right after that, I decided to collect every Nolan Arenado gold refractor from 2013 to the present. I did that and then got rid of those. And that's when I realized, nope. Right. Just, you know what? I think I enjoy goals and chases more than I enjoy, having a run or having a set.
Yeah.
I mean, but sometimes, we can be hard headed and, we're not listening to ourselves. And then all of a sudden you do. And then all of a sudden, the lesson finally is learned and can be applied.
For sure. For sure. I think, one more thing I might add in that case and to that hypothetical person is, man, I've taken lots of haircuts. I've never gotten crushed, and I don't want to make light of that because I know there's a lot of people who disappeared who did get crushed. But I've taken lots of haircuts, and by that I mean 10%, 15%, even 20%. I've taken losses, but I've felt lighter in the process. And do cards have utility, right? Do they have utility? If I'm holding something and getting joy from it, that's utility to me. So there aren't too many things I can do with my discretionary income where I can have this thing, enjoy having it, and to get my money back. You go to a movie, the money's spent, the experience is over. So if I do take a haircut, I remember, oh, you know what? This actually gave me pleasure. I did have time with this. And I actually think that's an underrated part of the hobby that really makes taking a loss or God forbid, or break even, whatever. Like that's an important part of this to remember. Don't be afraid and get back in the game.
So as we start to wind down our conversation here and we let you go, I guess the last question I would have for you on this topic would be, as you're looking at what you have now, at what has become your collection, do you look at it as like sort of the sum of all the parts, right? Do you look at do you see your journey when you look at your collection, or do you just see cards? And there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer.
Oh,
what do you
that's
see?
a perfect question to end on. Oh, I'm so glad you asked because I had a note. So I see very much a work in progress. I see, that you can either think of art as a blank canvas or you can think of it as a piece of marble. And in my collection, I really think of it more as a piece of marble, removing the extra stuff to reveal something beautiful. And there is an endpoint in my mind's eye. It actually is, and it at least hypothetically. So I'm 54, and a 54 card personal collection, other than like the $2 cards and the boxes I had as a kid, like the collection, 54 cards, which is to me a very powerful constraint, and it gives me a sense of relief. That's the only word I can think of to describe it. Like, this is the boundary, 54. So it's very much a work in progress. But I will say, as that accordion has expanded, as it's going now in a turn more towards contraction, it allows me to look at my collection and say yes and no, particularly to say no to things that if I ever make a mistake or ever fail again, I'm like, oh, I love that card, just like you did reacquiring. So great question to end on. It's a work in progress. And there is a hypothetical endpoint to it, but even that endpoint would still be evolving over time.
All right, Dave Spinrad at Rated Rabbi on Instagram. Thank you for sharing your stories, and take care.
Thank you.